All right, well, welcome back. Where are we? Welcome to back. Is this a real sentence that I wrote on here? Welcome to back to. What is this
Oh,
called?
it's a great start.
Well, welcome back to volume 2 of one of our new recording. Am I okay?
Maybe daytime
Uh,
recording isn't for
oh
us.
man, I know. I guess I'm like still not online here. It's 1:12 p.m. my time. But anyway, let me just tell you what we're here for. This is Back at Home. These are our. Oh wait, this is your line now. I'm just gonna stop. This is gonna be the most chaotic intro ever. Sorry,
Ooh.
everybody.
Welcome to a little view into who we really are and
Right,
why
this is
we
the
question
bloopers
why we
reel.
have a podcast.
Truly, every day.
Anyway, what we're doing here, in our back at home episodes, they're episodes full of our thoughts, reactions, and ratings when we get back at home after seeing a new release in theaters.
Right where we belong, back at home. So,
Thank God.
have to give our disclaimer that this episode will be full of spoilers. So if you haven't seen the new I Know What You Did Last Summer, go see the movie first. Otherwise, we're about to ruin the whole thing for you.
Yeah,
So
we
be
will we
advised.
will be talking details.
Oh yeah, we're gonna be we'll try to keep our discussion about the ending at the end this time, but you never know. Not our forte.
I will try to rein in some self-control.
It's hard. It's hard. But
It's all I want to talk about. We'll get
well,
there.
yeah, it's the worst part of the movie. But anyway, um, let's talk about first how I tried to make myself a cozy drink. I try to be cozy for the podcast. Usually I'm just like, okay, I'll get my water. It's like the end of the day when
My
we're
hydro
recording.
flask.
Right. And I'm like, a tea is a good thing, but like a water is kind of just where I'm like, okay, I just need to wet my whistle while we're recording. I was like, I
Sure.
have a little time. We're recording on a Sunday. My baby's napping. I'm gonna make a fun drink. So I tried to make strawberry cold foam at home. Are you a
Oh,
cold
how did
foam
that?
person?
Well, yes, except that Dairy and I do not agree. Although I think
Yeah.
there's some vegan cold
For
foam
sure,
options
for
now.
sure.
So I
This
gotta
is
I gotta
not
get back
vegan.
into
But
it.
yeah,
Okay.
I was like, you know what? This is like such a fun thing, but they they charge you like, oh, $5 or something to slap
Yeah.
it on your latte at some places. So it's like, I bet it wouldn't be that hard to make at home. So I tried to make it. Um, it was simple in terms of ingredients. The recipe I used was like heavy cream, vanilla extract, and strawberry jam. You just mix it all up.
Oh,
And so the texture, I feel like I needed a little more science. I was
I
measuring
can.
things, but like it
Yeah.
definitely wasn't getting like super foamy. So I'd have to look into that a
The
little bit more.
jam, the jam doesn't
Yeah,
seem like a likely ingredient for success.
I know. Well, I thought texture-wise, this was gonna be iffy, but like taste-wise, I was like, that's perfect because I won't need
Yeah.
sweetener. Like it's just sweet and strawberry. That's what I want. So,
Sure.
so I mixed it up. I made my drink, and then what I didn't put together. Well, first I was making two drinks, and the first thing I did was dump my electrolyte mixture into the first round by accident
Oh,
instead of into the
oh
water.
no.
Yeah, so that was sad. I just really hate wasting drinks, but I tried a sip of it, and I was like, oh,
No.
it's no, it's a no. Okay. So that was sad. So I made it again. I but I put the ingredients into like my latte portion, like kind of my iced coffee portion first.
Mhm.
And so that it was still like frothy at the top. So then I dumped in my jam cold foam and it just like sunk to the bottom. I was like, here it is. It tastes pretty good. Doesn't have that
Okay.
like fun pink
Yeah.
little top with a fun sipper, but yeah,
Well, if you're going out with a straw
it's not bad.
anyway,
Yeah,
then
that's what I was
it's
kind of
got to be
thinking.
mixed in.
I
Yeah.
know, I know. I was like,
You
you know
got
what? I
it.
would have to be doing, I need like a sippy cup, an adult sippy cup, which I'm looking into. But yeah, I think it was could have been worst first try, is my overall feedback. We'll try again, but may need to finagle things a little bit here.
I love that you tried. I love that you brought
Yeah.
something in. I am just drinking my normal morning tea, but really late in the day on a Sunday.
Fun. What's
So,
on that
I just
mug?
my every oh, just some black cats. Some
Cute. Oh
black
yeah, I love that
cats.
one. I love that
Gifted to
one.
me by my grandmother. So, just the
Oh,
cozy vibes all around
yeah, that's
here.
exploding with coziness. I love
Yes.
that. All right,
Yeah.
well, before we hop into talking about the movie today, let's just make people do things for us again. That's not really what we're trying to say.
Yes.
By do things, we are just once again asking for your paranormal stories. I stole your line again, Sarah. I write up these notes being like, here, let's say this, let's make it easy. And then I'm just
It's
going
a whole, listeners, it's a whole
completely.
script. It's a Sarah and Ashley.
Yep, it's labeled. I wrote it. Cannot follow it. I won't even involve you in this today, Sarah. We'll just
You
see if I
got
can get
it.
through
You got
anything.
it.
We just would love to hear your paranormal stories. Wait, what am I even reading? I'm so sorry for anyone who has shut off the episode at this point. I totally understand. Okay, let me tell you what kind of paranormal stories we're looking for. If you've lived in a haunted house, if you ever seen something you can't explain, do you have an object that you think is haunted or been to a place with a haunted object? Have you ever seen a ghost, a cryptid, an alien? That's a scary alien voice. We want to hear all about it. Sarah, take us home.
You can find the link to the submission form in our show notes. And now,
Yeah,
on to today's episode.
let's do it. Okay. All right.
So, I Know What You Did Last Summer, the original, is such a time capsule. The
Yeah.
cast, the vibe, what they cared about in the movie, such a time capsule. This is, in a way I don't think I've seen in a movie yet, such a Gen Z movie.
Yes. Yes, I have written down there. It is so Gen Z that I want to know how Gen Z feels about it because it felt
Yes.
like to the point of almost making fun. Is I don't think the director is Gen Z.
I don't think so. And I also like the fact that I could tell it was so Gen Z, it
Yes.
makes me wonder if it genuinely is or if it's just like the most stereotypical thing. Like I could
Yeah.
recognize the quotes that were like,
Yes.
it's giving, but like I am not
We're
cool
not
enough to
cool.
know like are they still saying that? I don't know.
Right, right. Is it a time capsule of now, or is it like, well, I guess because the characters would probably be Gen Z age, so it's maybe
Yeah.
trying to appeal to that demographic because they're like fresh out of college or something. So I guess the years do add up, even though you would think that they would almost be trying to appeal to us. I mean, not that everything's about millennials, but this movie was more for our generation, right? To reboot something that we enjoyed. And it definitely didn't feel like it was trying to maintain that like 90s nostalgia at all. It was just like, we're in the 2020s. Here we
Yeah,
are.
so that was really interesting to me. And of course it's like meta in a lot of ways that they kind of point to that. So
Yeah.
there is a jam-packed section of nostalgic stuff that we will talk about when we talk about at the end of the movie. And otherwise, they kind of like hit on the nose that this is, as an example, it's not the cozy town that it was in the original Murders. Because something really cool about this movie is it's a requel. It's not a reboot like the original things that happened in 1997, which they love talking about the years 1996 and 1997 in this movie.
Yes.
Like they actually happened, but it was, as we talked about last week, like a cozy coastal town, like a lot of local stuff. And now it's this like very beachy corporate place, and they talk about that.
Yeah, I actually really enjoyed that. I thought that was super well done. I personally, a lot of people don't like, they're just really salty about like redoing, rebooting any
Hmm.
form of revisiting a film. I feel like for something like this, I don't think too many people would be very offended. They're not like, oh, it was this perfect piece of cinema.
Oh, yeah.
Don't touch it. I personally think it's fun. Like it gives us another chance and a new story to enjoy it. And I like requels better for that reason because it doesn't take you out of the moment and expect you to be like, well, here's the same story, but for a new generation. It's like we're pretending that that happened and then we're continuing the story and having a lot of similarities, but it still is maintaining that consistency. And I feel like that makes it easier to suspend your disbelief of like, and like do these like mental gymnastics to be like, who's who and who is this character supposed to be? And do I like this as much as the way they did it the first time? Like, this
Right.
is just a kind of a new story. And I thought that the making the town different, like, I obviously prefer the cozy 90s
Yeah.
coastal town,
Hmm.
but I like that aspect of it being like a big money cover up, like the police are in it. We just like are sweeping
Yeah.
this under the rug. Like I think that added an interesting layer and like a level of freshness to the movie too.
They, I thought, did a significantly better job of giving reasons for why things were happening. Like the first movie does not care to do that. And it's part of what makes it so great. But this one like took a little bit more thought, like the cover-ups, like the overall wanting this town to appeal to investors and tourists. And so they didn't want the news out there. And that's why they weren't going after the killer. And that's why they weren't paying attention to people. Like it was a little reassuring that somebody sat down with that script and they were like, okay, how do we answer this question?
I had trouble listening to the rest of what you said because when you started out, I was just like, "Oh, so Sarah, do you think it's giving? Is it giving?"
It's giving thoughtful preparation.
I agree, though. That is something that I like about requels too, is when they are self-aware of the limitations of the original and make fun of it, and then the Easter eggs are both celebrating the original and also being like, yeah, we know that that was maybe a little
Well,
bit ridiculous or that people had a problem
yeah.
with it, like they did in Final Destination Bloodlines. There was a lot of that going on too.
Totally. They started that like at the very beginning of this movie. Like as soon as they go out to the road, what is it called? Like Reaper's Row or
Reapers,
something.
something, yeah,
But the scary twisty road, and they
yeah,
basically recreated the scene from the original, but then they were like, psych, we're not actually
yeah.
killing him that way. But then
Hmm.
psych again, we kind of are.
Right, right. And it got me. I was like, I totally jumped. Like, this movie was not holding back on the jump scare booming music
Right.
to get us.
Right.
And yeah, I definitely jolted one time, which reminded me of this time I was in a theater watching, I think it was Scream 5. It's called Scream, but Scream 5. And a guy was one of the ones who just was LOLing like super loud throughout the movie. Just that we all know that person, that moviegoer. He was sitting alone,
Yeah.
just like cackling,
Hmm.
saying his little commentary, being like, "Oh my God," the whole time. And one of the jump scares got him so much that he was holding popcorn. And he like threw the popcorn in the air, and the popcorn went like flying. It was so funny.
No, that
Uh,
happened in real life.
I didn't either. It was so genuine and hilarious. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm okay with this guy now.
Yeah, yeah. He only added to your cinematic
He
experience that
did. That
day.
was the only thing I remember. From it's not like you remember going to the movies that much. Like you're just sitting there watching. But
Yeah.
oh man. Well, where do we go from here?
So I thought it was really interesting that although they're telling a new story, the characters, there's five main characters, but the four of the five main characters are basically a complete redo of like they are the same characters as the original.
Yeah. So walk us through that. Can you think of the
So
names?
yeah,
Did you?
I pulled it up this time because I
Right.
realized again I don't
Every
remember a
time.
single one of their names.
Yep. Hmm.
So we've got like our main girl, Ava. She is the least like the original character, but she would definitely be the Jennifer Love Hewitt character. She's the
Yes.
one where when they're all saying like, "Oh, we don't like we can't tell anybody about this," she's like super reluctant to do it.
Right.
Um, I found her significantly more compelling than the character they gave Jennifer Love Hewitt in the
Agreed.
original, and I guess in this one again. Okay, then we've got Danica, who is literally the Oh, what do they call it? She's the
Kroger, Croaker
Croaker
Queen.
Queen. She's another Croaker Queen, just like Sarah
Yeah,
Michelle Gellar.
yeah,
She acts a lot like her in some way, but like a very Gen Z version. She is the
yes.
most Gen Z part of this movie, but I loved her. I
Me
loved
too. I
Danica.
was
She was
surprised. I was like, oh,
amazing.
she won me over. Wow.
Yeah, yes. Won me over even after getting engaged again after like less
Yes.
than a year.
Yes, and very self-aware. She's like, my new guy, he's definitely an alcoholic, but like he means well. He's or something.
Well, that was just like they're out so that they could kill him and have
We
us not
wouldn't
feel
feel that
terrible about
bad.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
like
When-
he chugged a whole bottle of wine before they did. It was very.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Anyway.
we've got Milo, who is our new Ray, aka Freddie Prince Jr., who is like pretty much as lame as Ray was.
Yes,
So like
that's
spot
boring.
on, well done
Mm-hmm.
there.
Yeah.
And then we have Teddy, who was an improvement on the Ryan
Yes.
Felipe character, the
More
new
complex
Barry.
and
hmm
interesting as
And
well. Yeah.
he wasn't an overall asshole.
He
Like
wasn't
Barry had,
abusive. Yeah.
yeah, Barry was terrible.
Yeah.
Teddy's got his issues. He's a rich kid. But you know what? I like Teddy.
I
I didn't
kind of
hate
like Teddy
Teddy.
too.
Yeah.
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 I was actually a little bit sad. The Teddy death got me a
I
little bit.
know. I know.
Yeah.
I wanted him to make it out.
Whenever they
Milo was
involve it with
fine.
parents too, I'm like,
Oh, that
I
was
don't know that I can watch new
tragic.
horror anymore. This is why. Where is my stuffed animal support creature? I don't have
Yeah.
one of those, but maybe I should bring one. I needed to bring
That
my like anxiety rocks for this.
no, I mean that is fair. That was a tough one. That being
Yeah.
said, his dad was the
He sucked.
worst.
He sucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, kept it from being like over the top, but still.
Yes. Yeah. Then of course we've got Stevie, who doesn't directly correlate to anybody in the first movie, and I'll talk about that at the end. And then we do get Ray and Julie back.
Yes.
Which
Mixed feelings on that.
I have a feeling we're gonna have a different take on that.
Yeah.
But I do want to start with Jennifer Love Hewitt
Yeah.
looks amazing,
Mm-hmm.
and she looks her age and amazing, and I am
Mm-hmm.
obsessed with it.
Yeah, yeah. And she's always been someone I feel like who doesn't overact. Like I feel like she
Yeah.
is Jennifer Love Hewitt in her movies. Like she just like walks on set and is like, give me the script and then just delivers it. Like it's so like casual, cool. I feel like she
Yeah.
maintained that part of Julie really well. And then we get the backstory. So you haven't seen I Still Know What You Did Last Summer.
No, I have
I
not.
haven't rewatched it in a long time. I don't really remember. And I know there were a few references to that, but I don't remember. They must have been together, Julie and Ray, at the end of that movie. And then we get the backstory that they have gotten married and then now have
Mhm.
gotten divorced. And it seemed like a pretty bitter divorce. Like he thinks
Yeah.
she's a crazy person. She doesn't really elaborate as to why she's so bitter towards him, which
No.
I guess they were just trying to keep under the radar for reasons we'll get into later to not make us too suspicious of Ray. Uh,
Yeah.
but I thought that was interesting. I personally, I'm a big legacy character gal. I'm a total sucker for that kind of
hmm
stuff in these movies. So I wanted a little bit more of both of them. At least Julie. I wanted more Julie. Ray we got enough of, and I thought that his character was interesting until the end. And then I was like, okay, so this makes no sense. But yeah, I wanted more Julie. Give me
Yeah,
your
that
Julie
is
thoughts.
fair. And her original reaction to Ava coming to her was like, I'm not going
Yes.
back. I'm gonna tell you one thing and like best of luck to
It
you. Like
was
that didn't
bad
seem to
advice, which
fit.
Ray
Yeah.
called out. He's like, you just told them
Yeah.
to like go after him, which I kind of get. Like I like the final girl compulsion to be like, don't just sit and wait to get killed, or don't just try to run away and then get
Yeah.
killed like while
Yeah.
fleeing.
hmm
Just kind of be proactive. But I don't. It's just like it's just a like 20-something girl. She's
Yeah.
she's hasn't been doing like
Yeah.
jujitsu or something. It
Right.
seems like maybe there could be I don't know. Just Julie was just like, the police didn't help me. They won't help you. They didn't believe me. They won't believe me now. So basically, it was like you're on your own, and like get a good weapon.
Yeah, she
So
like
that was a little tough.
specifically told her like go find who it is
I
and get
know.
them. Like that's
I
not.
know. Which is what she
Mm-mm.
did. And like, I guess it kind of worked out for her in the end and that she survived, but it wasn't like it went well. Like, all of her friends
No.
died and she almost died several times.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. They didn't. In my mind, that's not how Julie would have been in real life because all of this is super
yeah.
realistic.
Right. Well, I think what was like made it more unrealistic was then she seemed to get super invested in Ava super fast, and it didn't really make
Yes.
sense as to why she flipped that switch to be like,
Yeah.
oh, you're just some random, I don't really care, sorry you're going through a similar thing, to then being
Yeah.
like, I'm taking all of her calls, she's keeping me in the loop at every turn. And
They
now I'm
did
like
miss
really
that. Yeah.
invested and willing to risk my life, blah blah
Mm-hmm.
blah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that was a little weird. I did like just to talk about characters in general a little bit more. I liked Julie, like her discussions of trauma and PTSD. I feel like they sprinkled
Yeah.
in a little bit more kind of realistic representation and discussion than a typical slasher movie. We talked about Ava being more compelling. You mentioned that. I agree. Uh, it was interesting to be like, instead of just being like anxious and having greasy bangs, she had like a sexual kink. Was her
Yeah, that
way to
was
trauma cope.
uh-huh, uh-huh.
But I thought it was handled like okay. It was at least more interesting. But
Yeah.
still, it's just like, yeah.
I like that you drew the line between the greasy bangs and that. That's a good point. It's a very good point.
Yeah, yeah, it
Yeah.
definitely was horror written and directed by a woman vibes for sure,
Yes.
because it was being like women are complex and may
Uh-huh.
handle things that where you might think, oh, that's the way a man would handle it, just numbing himself with, sex and drugs and this and that and getting drunk, and it added just this layer of like women just have like a lot more empathy and feelings in general and may react
Yes.
in ways that aren't just like, I'm greasy now, I've let myself go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I
I,
don't know.
I think, right, I think Danica also shows as a female
Yeah.
character with like a lot more depth, even though
Yes.
she's supposed to be seen as this like very shallow
Very
character. Like,
vapid. She's not.
yeah, she's not. And the friendships in this movie were
Yeah.
great. So
Way
like
better.
something that I thought was huge even was when Ava comes back a year later and she says to Danica, I'm so glad that Stevie has been there for you. Like I love that they were like, these are two friends just truly looking out for the best for each other.
Totally. And they were setting that up where, as if this was a 90s movie, they would have had a feud. It would have been a feud because
Yes.
they were very clearly laying it out as though Ava should have come back and been jealous
Yes.
because
Mm-hmm.
Stevie is now the bestie, and Ava was just like very mature about it and like, I wasn't there for you and I'm
Yes.
sorry and I'm glad someone
Yes.
was. Yeah, that was a nice little
I
twist.
know. Horror directed by women. More of it, please.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Do you have thoughts on the podcaster?
Oh yeah, of course. Of course. Um, that would kind of bring us into the death and kill sections
Oh, let's
that feel
talk about
like,
it. Let's do
yeah.
it.
Are we ready to go there?
Yeah.
So this movie did some things differently than other reboot requels and did things better, I think, than a lot. But it did play by the old, like, how do we make this more exciting for today's viewers? We'll just have more
Mm-hmm.
gore and more death and
Yes.
yuckier stuff, which is not like the way to win me over, but also I felt like this was fine, whatever. It was gross. It
Yeah.
had some
Yeah.
like pretty gnarly kills. But it's a horror movie after all, so like whatever. It wasn't like shock factor. Uh, but we did get two kind of throwaway character deaths this time instead of just the one in I Know You Did Last Summer was Max.
Yeah.
And then this one we had the
Mm-hmm.
fiance who were just I kind of
Yes.
liked that surprise, like, oh, it's not Teddy. That was fun.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
think handled well, and the guy seemed like nice enough, but like obviously this like it wasn't like their marriage was
Yeah, we were. It was very
Yeah,
much meant to seem as though that was a bad
the
idea.
rebound, totally.
Yeah, yeah,
So his death scene I thought was cool and fun and made sense in the context of the ending motive
yeah.
of the movie of why he was killed and like what the killer was trying to accomplish.
Yes.
The podcaster, uh, I don't know why. Like, okay, one, let's just talk about like this is not the first requel to have cringy podcasters who are then
So
killed.
this is like what all of my thoughts on the podcast are
Yeah,
on. It's that it's such a product of the time that we are
yeah,
living in right now. Like, and it's like very prevalent. I mean, like there's a whole TV show about podcasters and a serial killer, and like
yeah.
there's it's such a thing. But on the other hand, isn't that what is literally prevalent in real life right now? Like, is
I
that not
know.
like what actually would be happening?
Well, I know. And then we're like sitting here podcasting about the like
Yeah.
how meta
I
are we
know.
to be like podcasting about the podcaster being like, oh, she was who would talk about like murder, like and death and yeah, I have stepped away from like true crime a little bit because I feel like there is true crime is like more morally gray to talk about. Like just
Yeah.
to be honest, it's
Mm-hmm.
like we're talking about fictional
Totally.
stories and that's a completely different conversation than talking about like real victims, real crime, um,
Mm-hmm.
etc. But I again thought her character was like interesting, complex,
Yeah.
and wasn't just the typical like gross, I'm obsessed with murder, so I'm
Oh
gonna exploit
yeah.
people. Like she had more layers than that, but she still also had
Yes.
that layer. Like that
Yeah.
layer was in there, but it was like among other things. I generally enjoyed her character. I also enjoyed the montage of her giving the murder tour to Ava. Like I thought that all was really
Yes.
fun, but then her getting killed, and Ava getting attacked didn't make sense to me in the end. It ended up feeling to me like the Max death,
Mm.
where it was like,
Mm-hmm.
so you allegedly have this really specific motive for killing these specific people, but then you also killed this random girl because.
Question mark?
Yeah.
Also, when she's getting killed, the podcaster like takes off the fishing
Yeah.
cap and she goes,
You.
"You," as though she recognized her. I cannot, for the life of me, remember a scene where she had met Stevie. I do not believe she had
Okay,
met
so I don't
Stevie.
think that was Stevie.
Oh, it was Ray. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
And
what it
I'm sure she knew
was.
of Ray because she had
Okay.
uncovered the whole
I mean,
1997
she
story.
literally had
The
the
Helen
greatest
Shivers
outfit
t-shirt.
of the movie, Helen Shivers, like classic 90s t-shirt. That was phenomenal.
Yeah, that was so over the top. Yeah, that whole thing didn't make sense to me because also, so, obviously, hopefully you've seen you've seen the movie, or if you've made it to this point and you don't plan on watching it, you just like to listen to us giggle. Stevie is one of the killers, and then it's revealed slightly later that Ray is the other killer. Stevie gives a motive that the person that they killed at the beginning or were involved in the death of
Hmm.
was her boyfriend, I guess. Like she was
Yeah.
romantically involved with him through a church group. Sorry for giggling. Um, it's always just like when you throw church groups into horror, it's just like things get
Oh
weird. It's
yeah.
hard not to giggle, which it was in this movie too. So she didn't realize that it was him until later because he was in a stolen vehicle also, that he stole from
Yes.
the pastor. Was he a pastor or a priest? I don't
He was a
remember.
pastor, but also she was super close with the pastor, so would she not have known that? Also, the pastor was the other throwaway death. Almost
Yes.
forgot
Okay.
about
Yes. Yes.
him.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And the dad, technically, like
Oh
Teddy's dad,
yeah.
probably didn't need to
It was a
die.
much more of a this movie felt much more like a
A
slasher to
rampage.
me because it was
Yeah.
like
We're
one after the
killing
other after the
whoever.
other.
And they were saying loose ends. Yeah. So like Stevie's motive was like fine. That is very typical of a slasher movie. I thought it was relatively unexpected. I didn't like the way they did the reveal. I didn't like how it was like we found out that it was her by a picture of her. That
Hmm.
was weird to
Hmm.
me, I guess, because I'm just used to like
Okay.
they literally have her masked the entire time. And so like you're being like this movie definitely had more of a Scream vibe, like a whodunit, which I didn't quite
Yes.
realize that it was going to be that it was like someone in the group is doing it. Because the first one is
Yeah, not
so
that at
subverts
all.
that,
Yeah. Yeah.
in which, like is interesting and not interesting at the same time in the way that it was done. So this one goes the Scream route and is like, oh, one of us is the killer, but we don't really know that. I don't think they really allude to that going in.
No.
So the reveal was like interesting, but I thought it could have been like done much more cinematically personally. Like in Scream, it's always
Yeah,
like we
fair.
put the pieces together and
Yeah.
then, or it's just revealed by like them taking off the mask or
Yeah.
them unmasked doing
It
something
was kind of
violent. And then we're
boring.
like,
I'll give
oh,
you that.
yeah, I thought that was really boring. But then like the motive was fine. And then it got like really clunky for me from there. When they started getting into the like there's another killer and it's Ray, and Ray's reason is because like he liked this girl, like felt like fatherly to her, and
And also because the town
they
has
were
forgotten
erased.
about them.
Like, is
Okay.
he a narcissist now? Like, we have to talk about Ray. I don't
So
know.
you say the end of the movie is clunky, and you are not wrong. It is not well done. This is where they stop providing solid explanations for things,
Right.
but it is where things get incredibly campy and ridiculous, and I love the ending of the twist.
You think so? Like, I mean, it felt really boring to me. Like the end of I Know What You Did Last Summer is my favorite part of the movie with the boat
Hmm.
chase scene, the reveal that like the fisherman and the killer that he's not. It's like it all feels very exciting and ramps up to a climax. This was like this weird like back and forth of action and then like really slow like they were going backtrack because they had to do two killer reveals, so they had to back up uh and then do it again with Ray, and then Ray's giving his explanation, and him and Julie have like a kind of fun, like very, very silly. I'll give you that part. When they start
Yeah.
yelling at each other, and then she starts yelling to Ray, or I'm guessing it was more to Ava, the what are you waiting for line
I
repeatedly.
okay. Well, let's hold on. Let's not skip over this scene because everything you're saying is correct. It's what happened was the movie went from a decent movie to a really bad movie, and it crossed
Yeah.
the line for me where it got good again. Like it was that bad at the end that it got good again.
Yeah. Okay,
So
so
the
here's
whole
what
yeah. Go ahead.
I think what could have been, I'm thinking of like what could have been done and just kind of like almost fix the whole thing is they should have just had Ray be the killer. And it would have been
Yeah.
surprising, shocking. People would have had mixed feelings about it. They could have spent more time developing why. Like maybe Stevie um, is the one that dies, and we've gotten more
Yeah.
backstory about her
Hmm.
before. Or, like something,
Yeah.
something like that. Like
Hmm.
it just didn't make any sense, and I feel like it just like deflated the whole thing to be like to turn a legacy character into the villain, which doesn't happen much. So like points for originality. You have to make the motive make sense. That is what I'm upset about. I'm not upset that he was the killer. I think that's interesting, but to be like, oh, because I was erased. Like that would have been a good Barry motive. I could have believed that maybe if Barry was
Sure.
still kicking. But Ray, it's like he just is this like little salt
It's
of the earth bar owner.
it is it does not make any
Make any
sense.
sense.
But they did take the most boring, lame character from the original and
Yeah.
they made him something else, at least.
Deranged.
I
Yeah.
am not in any way trying to get you on my side here because, again, you are correct. This is poorly thought out, poorly executed. It makes no sense. There were 1,000 ways they could have done it better. But I am just saying, I enjoyed myself.
Okay. Well, and you know what? Like at the end of the day, do I lose sleep over this? No.
No.
And do I remain angry about this? No. But when we're specifically discussing it, it's like this, when you're critiquing a movie, you got feelings, but I agree. We
Yeah.
weren't going into this movie thinking this was going to be a cinematic masterpiece. I actually thought it was going to be garbage. I thought it was
Me
going to be really
too.
lame. I thought it was going to be very formulaic. I thought it was not going to have an ounce of originality. And I feel like it had all of those things, and it
Yeah.
was a fun watch, and I didn't have any major problems aside from the villain reveal, and that is something that I think as a big Scream fan, they were really trying to throw in some Scream,
Hmm.
major Scream vibes to what Scream has done with like their newer movies, which is not a bad idea, but like you still have to. It just felt like we could have used more time.
Well,
We
also
could
like
have put this in the think tank.
The original Scream has the double twist. They have the two
Yeah.
murderers too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just
Maybe it
handled
was
in a
like too
way.
much of
And
Scream.
yeah, and that's true because Stu doesn't have a motive. Like, but he's like shocked by the fact that Billy has a motive and is like, wait, we're not just like
Yeah.
two homoerotic psycho killers together. Like,
So good and
I don't
so
know, it
much
works
better
so much
done.
better, right?
Yes.
Whereas this is
Yeah.
like, okay, we have this, I would say, pretty vanilla explanation for Stevie, but
Yeah.
it at least kind of makes sense
Yeah.
in terms of like what we would expect. And then this like totally lame cop
Yeah.
out, like having the shock factor of being Ray. I'm like, yes, this is good. This is original. That's not something Scream has ever done. Like, you're
hmm
doing it. You're doing the thing. They didn't
So
do
I
the thing
think
very
here
well.
is what happened for me is that the Stevie reveal was boring. The
Right.
three of them on the boat was boring. And then Ray comes
Yeah.
in, but Ava's the only one to survive. Had that been the end of the movie,
Oof.
I would, right, oof,
True.
indeed.
Yeah,
And
true.
then instead, it turns out to be Ray. I still don't have a lot of feelings, but then Jennifer Love Hewitt connects all of the dots somehow and comes to rescue Ava for some unknown reason.
Yeah.
And then we get one of the stupidest nostalgia sequences that has ever
Yes.
been in a movie.
In which
My
they say nostalgia is stupid or
yeah,
overrated or
right?
something.
She
Yeah.
literally says nostalgia is overrated, and
Yeah.
that it the very next thing she does is quote her iconic line from the original movie, "What are you waiting
Yeah.
for?" But also what had to be my favorite moment of the entire movie because it was just so dumb.
Oh, I'm
Is
excited for
when
this.
Julie, no, this is such an anticlimactic moment. But when Julie shows up at the bar after, Ava's trying to hide from Ray because they figured it all out, and Ray just goes, "Happy 4th of July, Julie."
I know. I know. Makes no sense. Like, we
It's
get
so
it. It's the 4th of
bad.
July. You've been talking about fireworks literally the entire time, and the
I
fact that it's 4th of
know.
July, that was really silly. I totally enjoyed that too. I think what
Yeah.
also could have made this a little bit better, and if anyone wants to hire me to be part of a horror think tank, let me know. Is another one of the issues I had was the fact that we don't know why Julie is so anti-right. Like we don't know why they
Yeah.
had a bitter
hmm
divorce because yes, we've seen the relationship through both of the movies and like they're so boring. Like the relationship's boring. You would think that they would have just broken up and maybe they just had a trauma bond and then got married because of their trauma bond and then we're like, "Oh, we're just not actually compatible. We were just high school sweethearts." That
Yeah.
that could be, but like I think they needed to without giving away that Ray is the killer. They needed to give us more crumbs like they could have established Julie more as being like unreliable where we would have been like digging into that being like really like Julie's our gal like she's a professor like,
Right.
but they should have been like pitting that against us being like she seems like she's toxic or rude or unreasonable with Ray and he but then like we're getting from her maybe some of these behaviors that like happened and he's gaslighting her. Like there could have been something there that would have made the like abrupt "it's Ray" thing, and then her
Yes.
realizing that it's Ray so quickly by just seeing him in a picture
I know.
with the
I
girl.
know.
We just needed like I get that you can't put that out on a platter because then you're ruining the mystery that you've tried
Yeah.
to build up, but like you have to also like lead us there so that then we're like, oh, we were wrong the entire time, not just like a we just made this character do a 180 because the entire series has built him up to be this
Yes.
hero and
A
now he's
lame hero. Yeah.
a serial killer almost. Like he
Oh,
was on
yeah,
his
I think
way.
so.
I don't know how many you have to get, but like in a few days he was slashing them up like in a gruesome fashion.
I don't know why you're surprised by my reaction. He went from a boring character
Hmm.
to an interesting character, and I don't care how he got there. He's not boring anymore.
I'm not surprised by your reaction. I just had a very Ashley reaction where I'm like, make the stupid story make sense.
Well, they
It
did
has to have the right amount of
until
truth. I
until
know.
the double
That might have
twist.
been why I was extra disappointed because my
Mm,
expectations were low and then they were building them
hmm
back up to be like, oh, this is getting interesting and maybe this will have a really interesting resolution. And then the ending, I was
mm,
like, come
mm.
on. Like, no. I do like that they set it up for the sequel. Did you see the post-credit scene?
Yes.
That was fun. So
Hmm.
obviously we know next summer we're going to be covering I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, the original, and then whatever they name the reboot sequel to this one. So we'll see you next summer for that. But mixed feelings. I will do have to talk about something I love about this movie that is so unusual for a horror movie and a slasher. We had Final Friends. We have been asking for this. We
Yes.
received it. I loved it. I loved their friendship. I like how authentic it was. It had ups and downs, but it didn't have any like
Hmm.
toxic, bitchy vibes at
No.
all. And then we just end with this really cute, silly scene where they're like eating seafood in their like hospital gowns and talking about how their killer friend is still out there and like knowing that they're gonna have to deal with it, but not right now. We're just gonna enjoy our food because we're hungry.
I loved it. I loved that it turned out Danica wasn't dead. I didn't care how unrealistic that was. She had a literal hook through her sternum
Yeah,
and survived. Don't care. Loved it.
yeah.
Loved that
And then she
ending.
was the only thing I didn't like was that she was thrown in the water and that Ava was not even like, let's turn her on the boat or
Yes.
like let's go get
Yes.
her because it had been
Yeah.
like 5 minutes and there was no
Well, at
effort.
that point, they needed to start turning the wheel to the nothing makes sense anymore side
Yeah,
of the
that
ship.
was
So,
where
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Had they
You're like,
gone looking for it, then Ray would have
yes.
had to, come out as a villain
Yes,
earlier.
that could have
It's,
been
yeah.
interesting if they found
Yeah.
maybe one or both of them in the water and
Yeah.
somehow that revealed part of the
Hmm.
mystery. Yeah, I
Hmm.
think it was just like it felt like they ran out of time and they're like, we
Yes.
need to start filming. And
Yeah.
the ending of this movie felt like the middle of the last one, where the middle was just like, what is
Hmm.
happening? Like,
Yeah.
where did the story go? Where it started off interesting and kind of streamlined, and then the ending I thought was pretty
Hmm.
good, aside from the villain being like a little wonky. But it was at least an interesting climactic final scene. And then this movie was like, good, 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 okay, 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 okay. And there was like, crash and burn. Okay, yep.
Yeah.
So we're not that
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
It was a really good effort. I was pleasantly surprised still, and I did enjoy myself. So
I had a lot of fun. Like
right,
that's what I texted you after. I said very fun.
yeah.
I stand by that.
I agree. I had a good time and really that's all we're looking for at the end of the day. And the other thing I will
Yeah.
say is that like we weren't sure that we were gonna have anything to talk about. We're like, this might be
Yeah.
so boring that we're gonna have to be like, we can't do an episode on this because it's so boring. We have nothing to say.
Huh?
That wasn't the case. I texted
No.
you. That was what I texted you. I was like, well, I have a lot to say about this, and some of it was good and some of it was bad, and that's interesting.
It was
That's
an
art,
interesting movie. I mean, but like kind of,
right?
they rebooted what is arguably like a kind of boring movie into something that is updated for the times, reflects the generation that's in it. They
Yeah.
made some attempts with some twists. I mean,
Yeah.
hats off
Not
to
bad.
them.
Not
Yeah.
bad. Yeah, no, I think it was a good effort. One thing I didn't mention that I also really liked is I really liked the costume design of the killer. It was very similar to the first one, but I felt like they amped it up a notch with like the piece over the face. I actually liked how silly it was when Stevie was taking off and she's like, "Oh my God, it's so hot."
Yeah, I know.
So we're all thinking that during slasher movies where they're, well, it's
Yes.
like the ghost face mask.
I
Like you cannot see. You
I
cannot
brought
see
it
the
up
billowy.
when we were, well, no, I brought it up when we were talking about I Know What You Did Last Summer. There were just people in slickers in the middle of
Yes.
July just to
Yes,
hang out
hot.
outside in North
Right.
Carolina.
Right. Yeah,
I
that was
also
fun.
love that there was like no reason for them to be wearing the slickers. Like at
No.
least the killer in the first one was a fisherman.
Yes.
Ray's not even a fisherman anymore. There's no reason for them to be wearing that outfit, but except
Yeah.
for the
The reveal.
nostalgia.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, and the reveal,
Yeah.
right? They were keeping their identities secret.
Yeah.
And
And Ray was paying homage to
he,
the
well,
original the whole
because that
time.
was part of what they were trying to illustrate, right? Is that he was kind of trying to recreate this and to be
Yeah.
like, you have to remember this is what happened and this is kind of similar to how it happened, but let's make it
Yeah.
worse. So yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, it was a reason enough for me, I guess.
I got no problem with it.
Give me your 5 star rating or rating out of 5 stars, I should say. I don't
Rating
think
out
it's
of
gonna be a
five
5 star.
stars. It's not a 5 star. I'm gonna give it like
No.
a 3.75. But like it's like inching
Okay.
towards a 4 because I
Nice.
enjoyed it. I had a good
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. And that's why we're there for that one. I
Yeah.
rated it 3 stars, because I think of everything I said
Yeah.
already. Let's not be to death. I liked it. I thought it was above average,
Hmm.
but it just, yeah, it missed some things for me where I'm just like, I'd rather watch Scream. Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Fair.
but good effort for sure. And I'll probably watch it again, and I will
Yeah.
definitely go see it if they make another one for
I
sure.
think it gets a recommend from
Yeah.
us now that we
Great
spoiled
cast,
it if you
fun
haven't seen it
ride.
already.
Yeah. We've now motivated you because you didn't want to see it, but you were curious. Yeah, go see it. It's fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Any other thoughts?
Nope. Loved it. Truly.
Well, why don't you tell us, Sarah, then what we're talking about next week? Because it's kind of a big deal for you.
Next week, we are talking about my all-time favorite TV show. We're gonna start with just the pilot, so please tune in, even if you haven't seen Twin Peaks. That's the show we're talking about. We are just covering the first episode. No spoilers past that, and I cannot wait.
Ooh, yeah, that's gonna be a fun one. All right, we'll see you there.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Haunted Homebodies. Make sure you like and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
And remember, when in doubt, just stay home.